Welcome back to another episode of The Awakening Trail. Today's episode is a bit different from our usual deep dives. It's short, it's focused, and straight to the point. We are joined by Krishnan CA, a seasoned corporate professional turned author. In this conversation, we explore life values, spirituality, and touch upon the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Krishnan shares how these timeless principles can guide you to success in both your personal and professional life. It's one of those episodes that leaves you feeling inspired and uplifted. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this refreshing journey with us. Hi, Krishnan. Welcome to the Awakening Trail.
Hi Priyanka, and very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Lovely. So before I get started with the questions, I want to, congratulate you on your recent award for your book, The Happiness Flywheel. So heartiest congratulations from me and my viewers.
Thank you.
All right. So let's get started. Why don't you tell our listeners more about you, maybe begin from the beginning about your childhood. Were you always interested in mythology, scriptures? Over to you, Krishnan.
Sure, sure, Priyanka. In fact, coincidentally, Priyanka, uh, I was thinking through how to, talk about my overall profile, and it's good that you started off by wanting to know my childhood. And coincidentally, in one of the interviews that I attended with the CEO, so I walked
Mhm.
into this room and it's a large organization, $20 billion organization. And he was like, tell me, Christian, what you did in your school. Because whatever brought you here is, of course, because of your professional achievement. And so going back to your question, Priyanka, I had one of the most wonderful school life. I was pretty much into everything. And of course, thanks to my parents, teachers, colleagues. So I used to be part of the school orchestra. I learned the mridangam for over 11 years. I was part of the school band. I have been part of we had our own band. I've given TV, radio performances. That was on the music side. And then I was into dramatics. Um, was pretty much the lead character in many plays: Sanskrit, Hindi, English, bilingual, cross-lingual. And I was also into sports. I used to be part of my school volleyball team, and not just be part of the team, but our team was the zonal and district champion. So there was every week we used to get one or two awards, which got announced in the assembly. I used to
Mhm.
represent my school in chess, and even till date, when I tell all of this to my wife, she was like, doesn't believe me because I was also good at academics. So she always, because we come from a traditional South Indian family, she was like, people who are good in academics don't do everything else. And I also happened
Yeah.
to win the election, and I was my school's assistant and school pupil leader. So I thought I should begin with that because a lot of the viewers, your viewers, have children, and to me, that's one of the most important roles that we play as parents. And I'm very thankful to my parents to give that kind of exposure because even today in my leadership, uh, the what you learn on the field, on a sports field, right? What you learn from music, which is about bringing various instruments
Mhm.
and musicians together, uh, is priceless, right? And we must encourage our children to not just take on to academics, but develop them as a very holistic professional. But that apart, as you are aware, I completed my engineering MBA, and then post completing my MBA, I joined TCS. Um, I have had one of the most interesting careers after joining TCS. I was part of their consulting practice post MBA. I was part of also the unit that set up driving non-linear growth for the company globally. I was part of the startup team. In that role, won the TCS Innovista, Tata Innovista Award. And I spent some time in Europe. I used to head business development for TCS Telecom in Europe. I managed half of Europe. Again, that was one of the best experience for me, traveling a lot of the European countries and winning business for TCS. And then I joined Tech Mahindra. I was part. I was joined as a COO and CDO of the Bond Group, which is into customer experience and digital transformation. I was instrumental in integrating multiple acquisitions of ours into the Tech Mahindra ecosystem. And then most recently, I've taken over as the head of large deals globally, driving mega deals for the company. And since you were part of Tech Mahindra, you know the kind of performance that we have achieved. But the reported numbers are a 42% year-on-year growth in deal wins. Um, and it's very satisfying for me. And a couple of additional call outs is I've also be an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad, and it was there I got hooked into, as you said, spirituality. So all throughout, I was never into spirituality till I went to IMA, and there was one
Oh,
course that I took up.
okay.
The course was on Bhagavad Gita and how Bhagavad Gita can be applied to corporate setting. And if it were not
Hmm.
for IMA, I might have never got introduced to wonderful, wonderful scriptures of our Gita and understand it as a young professional must to get
Hmm.
clarity on how to navigate life, build great teams, and create impact. And I think there's been no better book than the Gita. And last
Yeah.
call out is I also won the Economic Times Young Leader Award more than a decade back, but I think that was a very big highlight for me for my career. And as a person, I'm quite excited about learning. So apart from my MBA and engineering, I have completed programs from MIT, Columbia Business School, INSEAD on various topics, AI, digital transformation. So I'm a, I've always been fond of learning, and that possibly motivated me. It was always in me that I've read so many books. I owe my success or owe whatever I do to the books that I've read. So I wanted to be an author myself, and this year I achieved that goal by publishing my first book, The Happiness Flywheel, on a topic that I've always been very, very keen and interested in.
Absolutely. So, Krishnan, you were always on the winning side, right? You always had seen the winning streak. But I just want to ask you a very different question on that note, right? Many a times, what happens is people do just focus on the success part, or if we look at some celebrities or someone who has achieved a lot in their life, we keep focusing on their achievements. And I'm sure while achieving these great successes, you had a small pitfalls or some challenges. So how did you manage that before we get into the Bhagavad Gita or the other side, other
Yeah,
aspects of your life? I just want to understand because we spoke so much about just achievements, like you always won awards. Could you give one or two examples where you faced challenges and then
yeah,
you overcome them and then you made it to the next?
yeah. I mean, I can give you two examples of challenge I faced, right? So in my stint
Yeah.
in Europe, uh, I was pursuing a very large deal, and actually we lost it. And I was shattered, right? Because that was my first large deal, and I kind of felt I had let down my organization, my company, my team, right? Because I was quite gung-ho about winning it. But to me, and in fact, I even recall there was this practice of a deal debrief where I had to really own up and say, look here, it was because of me, right? Couldn't win it, right? You could have done these five things better. But I feel, see, there are in everybody's life there is success and failure. But the more important thing is what did you learn from it? And I put those
Hmm.
learnings into practice, and then I won one of the most important deals, which opened up our business in Luxembourg, the first account there. And to me, I credited that win to the loss and the learnings that I implemented. So that's the first example. Second example is when I was in US. I told you I had taken up on a very difficult account, right? And there were a lot of
Yeah.
questions, right? Because you're measured on quarter, right? So The quarter that I took the account degrew by 40%, right? And it took some time for me to turn it around. So, 2, 3 quarters down the line, everybody had given hope. In fact, my bosses said, why are you doing this? Because we know you're competent. You might as well do something else. But I did not give up. I told, see, look here, I signed up on
Hmm.
this. I'm going to see it through. They at least felt in good intent that it will not be good for my career. But I said, see, I've taken it up. I want to see it through. And sure enough, I saw it through, and by the time I exited, it was 40% growth quarter on quarter. So from negative growth 40% to positive growth 40%. So the second message I want to give it to your audience is that one is learn from your failures. Second, stay patient and persistence. Patient,
Hmm.
persistent, and providence will be supporting you, right? So those are the three P's for success:
Three P's.
patience, persistence, and then hand of God will always be with you to take you through.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think I've heard after marketing, I think the new three P's definition I've heard it from you, Krishnan, and it is very useful and helpful.
Maybe you should find me a fourth P, right? Because you're a marketing person.
Yeah, four P's.
Maybe passion and
Oh,
purpose.
yeah, yeah. I was about to say passion, but thank you so much. So yeah, those are the four P's for you all, right? Uh, That was very, very great insight. And in fact, Krishnan, I remember like when we were in Goa for the team offsite, right? What I really liked about you, and probably that is also one of the reason why I always wanted to host you on my channel. I remember categorically, where you accidentally missed to nominate one of your team members for an award. And I told you just like that, during the offsite that it's okay, I'll take the blame. But you said, no, I'm not going to do that, right? It's my mistake and I would like to own it up. And that stayed with me. And very few people I have met in my career of 19 years, who are so humble after achieving so much in their life and also not just humble but honest as well. So thank
Yeah,
you so much for that, Krishnan. And I think that is where that chord got connected between both of us. So now I'll
absolutely.
just
Thanks for your
slightly
observation.
I'll just now quickly move, the subject to Bhagavad Gita again, right? Thanks to
Yeah.
IIMA that you perceived Bhagavad Gita. Would you like to talk about any of your favorite character other than Lord Krishna, from Bhagavad Gita?
No, my favorite character is Arjuna, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
I will give you an instance. So, a small story. I know I'm dragging it, but I'll try to keep it short. So, the
Sure.
thing that really caught, apart from the fact that Arjuna is very focused, right? The eye of the fish, which is a known story, right? But the slightly
Yeah.
unknown story is, Lord Krishna, at least as per my reading of the Gita, uh, decided that, this war is not worth it, right? So he goes to Karna and he wants to
Mm,
explain, why are you doing this? Is all wrong, right? Why do you have to kill and do the wrong thing? You can stop this right now, right? This is not right. But Karna, after some time, stops Lord Krishna and says, look here, whatever you're saying, I already know it. The problem for me is not knowledge. It is this, my problem is I don't feel like doing the right thing or feel like doing it, right? So to me, the difference between Karna and Arjuna, and if you see Bhagavad Gita is all about that, right? Arjuna wants
yeah.
to seek greater knowledge. He wants to seek, right? He's confused, but he's open, he's moldable, right? And he gives it, right? And asks very good question, but at the same time, he's open to suggestion. Right? He wants to do the right thing. So to me, these are very important quality, right? See, Bhagavad Gita and our scriptures talks about Tattvamasi, which is that is you, or Aham Brahmasmi.
Mm,
The God is within you. But the point is, in order to unlock the God within you, you have to be open and stay true to your conscience. You cannot, go about living your life not being that, which is what Karna, pretty much said to Lord Krishna, right? So to me, that quality in Arjuna, being open, openness to learn, and ensure that he stays true and asks good questions. He had his own confusion, right, at some point.
yeah.
But then being open to that feedback and then implementing that is a very great quality.
Wow. I'll just add to what you just said, right? Ask good questions. But I think I remember someone telling me during my start of the career, is ask any questions, even if they are stupid questions, just go about it. Ask them because only then you will learn something. So yes, ask questions and be open is what I
Yeah,
can, understand from what you just mentioned.
yeah.
Now, I think I would like to move to the next segment where we, talk about your book. uh, I think it is Amazon number one book at the moment. And the book name is The Happiness Flywheel. So before you get started into the book, I just wanted to know why this name? What struck you to, name your book The Happiness Flywheel?
So I've been always enamored by Jim Collins' book. Uh,
Hmm.
right, he talks about the flywheel for organization, and to me, uh, happiness is a very important concept that everybody should reflect on. And happiness is a complex concept. It's not a one-on-one, right? You can't totally define it. And my book is an attempt to help people, get that feeling. But the flywheel is all about bringing it all together and exercising each of those dimensions, 7 dimensions that I've spoken in the book, consistently. Just like you go to the gym, exercise your
Yeah.
body to stay fit, I think you need to pick up the happiness flywheel to keep your mind fit and create balance in your life. And ultimately, not just achieve whatever your purpose is, but do it in a fulfilled and become a happy champion. So to me, that was the intent behind the book, to create a framework, a guide for people so that they can lead balanced and happy lives.
Okay, okay. Can you tell us more about, what motivated you to write the book, first of all, and little bit more insights into your book and how it changed your life, after you wrote it?
Sure. So, see, I've always been, as I wrote in the blurb of the book, the unofficial happiness uh, CXO in my life. So anytime my friends, my mother, my wife, my child, my teammates come to me, ultimately they are coming for some kind of happiness, right? So, and I've always
Yeah.
had this in me, sometimes my team says, you know what, these guys are very bad, they're not collaborating. But when I get into the meeting, I don't see any such challenges, right? So it was always there in me that I wanted to share this perspective. And my mission is to reach at least 1 million people so that they get access to this knowledge, which is a combination of 3 dimensions. One, my experience of working with some of the finest leaders, including Mr. N. Chandra, who's the current chairman of Tata Group, Mr. Anand Mahindra, what I have observed, Mohit Joshi, who's our current CEO, some very, very fine leaders, what I have observed, what I have learned from them, because not many people get the access that I have got. Second is my deep passion for academic research. So I don't want to throw some ideas which are not empirically validated. So I wanted to bring that dimension. And third is, of course, spirituality. So my motivation is to help impact lives through my insights from these 3 dimensions, put it in a framework so that it's easy for people to pick up and incorporate as habits. The thing that changed after writing the book is the kind of feedback that I have got. Every day, somebody writes to me saying that they have started implementing some of these. It has brought transformation. One individual reached out to me. He said he has provided some of this to somebody who's his relative who's suffering from cancer, and he
Hmm.
believes that this makes her pain right lesser and lesser. Another person wrote to me saying that he has introduced this book to his 12-year-old daughter after reading it, so that she starts incorporating some of
Hmm.
these. So, to me, the impact that a book can create can only be felt once you write it, uh, and it's really very heartening to see the impact that it's creating in people's lives.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, the kind of success stories or the testimonials that you've mentioned. They are really very, touchy, and I'm very glad that it is helping them in a positive way. I'll also share the link of, from where the audiences can buy the book in the description box of the video. Now, moving further, what are the three ways, anyone can adapt in their life to start their happiness flywheel without reading the book? Any three anecdotes that you would like to share?
So I have structured the book also in that very easy to understand step-by-step fashion. So to me,
Mm-hmm.
the first chapter, which is about discovering your purpose, should be the first step. I feel everyone should ask this question: how what I am doing today matters to me, and how is it leaving a legacy? That question should be seriously contemplated, and it should be a mix of what you are very, very good at, what is the problem that the world has, and what you are passionate to solve. So the intersection of these three, or the if you have read the book Ikigai, could be a area
Yeah.
for you to investigate first, right? What is your purpose? Basically, that's the first chapter, anyways. Second thing that I want you to take up is seriously consider what are your set of habits, because whatever you're going to achieve in your life is going to be a function of your habits. So list down the set of things that you do consistently, and a 1% improvement every day can make you 36 times better on that. So once you choose what you want to do, think about habits that you can consistently adopt, because consistency trumps everything in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the geometric proportion that we learn in school, right? And the third thing that I want to say is I'm going directly to the seventh chapter, because you said, what if somebody doesn't want to, or doesn't have time to read the book.
Yeah, yeah.
So seventh chapter is about values.
Mm-hmm.
So even yesterday, I was very upset with somebody who I've had very high regard,
Mm-hmm.
because what I told and what I believe is, no matter what you do, you have to lead a principle-centric life. Because I don't know if you have picked up the book by Clayton Christensen, who's a Harvard professor. He wrote this book, Measure Your Life. How do you measure your life? And he
Mm-hmm.
says this very eloquently that, you know, I'm sure all of us believe in God, but when we go, I have the conversation with God, right? After our time in this world, the question that God is going to ask is all those instances where you broke your trust and broke the trust that God has in you, or in other words, right, uh, compromised on your values. So I can assure you that every day I go to sleep very peacefully. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, no matter what you do, always remember that there is a right way of doing it. Think about giving feedback, right? Uh, Feedback has to be given, yes, but it has to be given in a gentle way, and it has to be given to match the maturity of the other person. And at the same time, it has to be given with the right intent in mind. So that to me is values, right? So don't go about doing your stuff by, stepping on others people's toes and, putting other people down, right? Live a very principle centric life. So those are the three things, right? Discover your purpose, build a set of habits, and never compromise on your values.
Yeah. I'll just ask you one follow-up question on that, right? You said about building consistent habits, but many a times what happens is we also have bad habits, right? How do we give them up? I'm not sure whether your book is going to help the
Yeah.
readers on that, but any piece of advice for it?
Chapter 3
Ah,
is about that, right? And my premise is, see, once you discover your purpose and you build good habits, I'm telling you,
mm-hmm.
if you have derailers, it will bring you down. So what
Correct.
are they? What are the research-backed derailers? I've listed them down. And
Okay.
how do you avoid them, correct? And obviously, I'm not going to rattle a set of derailers, but thing is that just going back to what Karna said to Krishna, right? Many times, all of us have the Daiviga Sampati and Asuri Sampati. Daiviga means good qualities, and Asuri is the
Yeah.
bad expression of ourselves. And we all have conscience, right? So it is very easy, right, to know you're doing wrong, right? Nobody needs to tell you. You just need to honestly look in the mirror And I have a very funny practice that I have initiated in my home. So
Hmm.
every time, I kind of get angry or say an unkind word, my daughter points out to me and corrects me, right? Because to me, it is very, very important to uh, um, identify some of our derailers and not let it get the better of us. So if you are like, for example, short-tempered, right? You need to
Mm,
first realize that you're short-tempered and have your own methodologies and coping mechanism to ensure that when you are lost your cool, right, you don't end up doing something crazy, right? So maybe drink a glass of water or take a break or don't engage, go in a quiet mode, whatever you want to do. But
yeah, yeah.
you have to have your ways to control the negative tendency, which is what derailers are, which is what chapter 3 is.
But another important point, what you mentioned, about the three ways what you mentioned. The last point was don't lose your, don't compromise on your values, right? That's what you
Yeah,
said. And
yeah,
that really stayed with me. You also have spent good number of decades in corporate world. I have spent just 2 decades at the moment, right? uh, we have seen the world. We've seen the world. There are good, there are bad, there are ugly in any field you name it, just not the corporate world. But my question to you is, many a times we see that the workplace gets, challenging or demoralizing, right? Many a times. And you also brought up one of your incidents just now. So how do one measure happiness at work? And is it really possible to, maintain happiness when you have such factors or people, contributing to the demoralizing part of it?
yeah. So my simple methodology to cope up with this is first discovery of purpose, right? Which means what are you good at? What are your flow moments, correct? And fill your day with those flow moments. You should not have time for all these negative things. So see, in any world,
Wow,
any situation, there is positive, negative, right? You have to be so busy doing what you love, right? Aligned with your purpose that you don't have time for rest of the thing, right? Like they
right.
say, right? Idle mind, devil's workshop. So the people
Yeah,
who I find gossiping, telling things bad about somebody else. So somebody today only called me, right? Just before this call. I was late to this call, right? So she was saying that, this person is not doing that. I said, boss, either you talk to him or bring that person in the call. Because let me tell you my philosophy. I don't get
right,
up in the morning thinking that somebody wakes up to make a jerk of themselves. So everybody is good. If you feel otherwise, confront them. Let them like be benefited from your greater level of maturity or whatever spiritual quotient or whatever, right? And if you can't do that, I'm happy to be on the call to do it, right? But I
right.
told her that I have more important things to do, like talking to Priyanka, and that's why I'm on this call. You saved me from a very negative call, which was I completely avoided because I was clear that I have my purpose and I wanted to use your channel and medium to help people who are listening in, right, get
Yeah,
benefited, right,
yeah, yeah.
personally, professionally.
Lovely. So now moving further, I think I remember sometime back you talked about spirituality was one of the element why you wanted to write this book, or your book also covered the spiritual aspect of it. So what does spirituality mean to you, and how does it help you both personally and professionally?
So to me, see, everybody has their own definition of spirituality, and my mom used to say it
Yeah,
many times. She always in school and even college used to say, Krishnan Sriram is my pet name. So she used to say that, look here, you're good in IQ, you're good in EQ also, you have good friends and you're a team player and all of that. But what about your SQ, spiritual quotient? And I didn't really understand that at that point in time till I made my way to IIM Ahmedabad. And then I realized that there's something called spirituality and it can be applied in work life, right? It's not something that needs to be done after 60 years, right? After you retire. So to me,
yeah, yeah,
spirituality, at
yeah,
least
yeah,
from my standpoint, is like a guide. Just like when you buy a product or an appliance, it has a guide, right? So to me, spirituality is that guide, that North Star. So, for example, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16.4, and if you want me to recite the verse, I can, but it talks about 23 Daiviga qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So, first, do you know what Bhagavan says about the Daiviga qualities and which are those 23 qualities? Which is the number one, and why does he talk about the number one being number one and not the number 23rd? By getting an understanding of all of this from different people who have commented on the Gita and studying it, you get a
Mm-hmm.
better appreciation about yourself and a guide to lead your life better. Why should you? Like, there are people who drive well in the road and there are people who do not. So, my attempt is
Yeah.
spirituality gives you that guide to drive your own life in a much more holistic, collaborative, and purpose oriented way and a meaningful way. So, to me, spirituality is like a guide to your life that everyone should embrace, study, and implement it most importantly.
Wow. Thanks to your mother, who decided to, enlighten you with the spiritual quotient when you were quite young.
Yeah,
So, and which is why we see this Krishnan today. I think with this we are coming to the close of this episode. Before we close the episode, I would request you to, you know, give one message or one or many messages. It's your decision for the young listeners, right, who are aiming for a great professional career like yours. So, any one or many messages that you have in mind for the young listeners, Krishnan?
as a young professional, uh, you need to sit down and ask yourself some very honest questions, which is, what are you truly good at? Correct? What is the world need? A problem that is yet to be solved, and what are you passionate about? And this question and answers can change, right? So when you're in 20s, it will be one answer, 25, it might be different, 30s, 40s, 50s. So it will keep changing, but always
Yeah,
have the clarity, right? Because when you have clarity and you put your mind and heart and soul into it, you will be successful. And whenever you're doing anything, always remember to live a value centric life. Because if you don't do that, no matter how much effort you put, and I made this statement in the beginning, if you remember, it's the hand of God. There are many times I found myself in a situation where everybody would have given up, but I knew that I will make it through because I was doing it with a lot of sincerity. So once you decide what you want to do and contribute, do it with sincerity, do it with passion, and most importantly, do it in a value centric way. And success is a foregone conclusion. And even if you don't appear successful in the eyes of the world, you will be successful in the eyes of God. So I know it's a little bit spiritual, but since we spoke a lot of spirituality, I had to end with that.
mhm.
That ultimately, all of us are trying to realize ourselves, right? And trying to lead meaningful life. So even if you don't believe in God, to me, it is about being true to yourself, right? When you look in the mirror, you should be happy and you should call yourself successful, right? That's the benchmark. Even if the world calls you successful, if you can't look in the mirror and say that I led a value centric life, then to me, you can't justify to yourself that you have, succeeded, right? Even if the
Yeah.
world thinks that you have succeeded. So that's a little bit less spiritual interpretation of whatever I said, but I hope I got the message across, right? So find out what you're good at, work with passion, and you will be successful and do it in a value centric way.
Wow, Krishnan, it was very instrumental and very inspirational for you to share these knowledge or your many years of experience with all of us. And with that note, I would like to thank you for agreeing to do this on the Awakening Trail. Thank you once again.
Thanks a lot. And
Namaste.
Priyanka, before we sign off, I want to thank you. It's always very difficult for holding this talk and asking good questions, thought-provoking questions. And in a way, you are also trying to create an impact for your listeners. And I wish you all the best. Continue the good work. And in a way, you have discovered what I've been telling and talking all along, right? Your purpose. So
Yeah,
do keep encouraging, inspiring others to do the same. Thank you.
thank you so much. So that's it for today's episode. Short, but really powerful. I hope you enjoyed the chat and picked up something new from it. Make sure to check out Krishnan's book, The Happiness Flywheel. The link is right there in the description box below. Lastly, please do subscribe to our channel if you haven't done yet. And until next time, be happy, make everyone around you happy, stay as close to nature as possible, and love everyone. And always remember, beyond the veil, the trail begins. We'll see you all next week in yet another inspiring episode. Until then, take care.